Hey guys, Vidio-athon again. So, Geek Week is almost ending, and with the Gundam Seed Destiny remasters going on, I thought, why not end it on a little bit of a controversial note? Here is my opinion / kind of review of Gundam Seed Destiny. And I think that before we go on, I should give a little bit of an explanation of what kind of Gundam fan I am. Seeing that, yeah, I'm giving my opinion on one of the most controversial matches of the entire Gundam franchise. So, I have, in fact, seen all the Gundam series with the exception of Gundam Age and G-Savior. Other than that, nothing missing. Also, as far as nostalgia value goes, I watched Gundam Seed and the original Gundam at the exact same time because I bought the DVDs together, so that's also good. No bias when it comes to nostalgia. With that said, I'm obviously not going to be Gundam Seed Destiny's knight in shining armor who is here to defend all of Gundam Seed Destiny's flaws or pretend that they simply don't exist. Neither will I be a UC purist who is here to only hammer on said negatives. And let's get talking about Gundam Seed Destiny. And, well, since it's such a controversial matter, let's start with the least controversial things we can talk about. The good things we can all agree on, starting of course with the music. All I can really say about it is just listen to it, it's fantastic. Gundam music is always great, but especially Gundam Seed Destiny's soundtrack is sublime. It's simply gorgeous, really. Just listen to it, that should say it all. And then, more good things? Let's think about that. No. So yeah, some other good things were the mecha design. This might be a little bit controversial, but overall, the mecha design was simply fantastic. I love the daggers, really like the Windams, also really like the Zakus. Yeah, we can say that it's not the most original mecha design, but simply because they're not original doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. Don't forget the mecha designer was the same guy that designed all the original things, and last time I checked, it's kind of hard for a franchise to rip off its own designs. Think about that for a second. Also, another fact that backs up my claim that mecha design was simply awesome, Gunpla sales, and just look at the current real great line that's going out. Strike Freedom has just been confirmed. We have had releases of the Freedom, the Justice, the Strike, Striker packs, so the Destiny itself. So Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny are a big deal when it comes to mechs. Now, of course, it wouldn't be Gundam Seed Destiny with a little bit of bad things mixed in there. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm just going to talk about one of the most annoying things for me. The Strike Freedom's wings. What idiot thought it was a good idea to mount weapons on the thrusters? Why? Who thought that was a good idea? And why did they do it? And yeah, you could always say that, well, he just has to launch his Dragoons to use it. Well, yeah. In a split-second life or death situation, I really have the time to launch all of my Dragoons, of course in an extremely overly dramatic fashion that takes at least 5 seconds, before I activate my thrusters and dodge the incoming shot. I think that makes my point pretty clear. So yeah, there we have that. But now, moving on to other good things, I would have to say character design is also really well done. Just like the mobile suit design, the characters look really, really nice. Mind what I said about they look nice. Personality-wise, it is really a giant mixed bag. And that is kind of dragging us into the next category of the mixed bag. Kind of like you have some things that are good and some things that are bad. But now that we're on the characters, let's talk about those for a little bit more. So the characters themselves. Yeah, it's some characters for me are really cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could figure out who my favorite character from Gundam Seed Destiny is. She also happens to be my favorite all-time character. We also have Mulaflaga. Oh, wait, no. He's not Mulaflaga. He's Neo Roanoke, and he's definitely not a Char either. Yeah. So that's a fantastic disguise, by the way. So characters, those two were really nice. We have Atheron, who's also a really good character, but yeah, the way his character develops, he ends up the same as he began. In the beginning, he doesn't know what to do. At the end, he still doesn't know what to do. And at halfway Gundam Seed, he didn't know what to do either. So he's really quite a clueless guy. I really like Atheron, I really like his character. He's one of the more sensible characters, even though he also does that non-killing stuff. But Atheron, yeah, he has substance, he has a character at least. He has flaws, he has good things, so he's a really nice fleshed out character, but the character development he goes through is almost non-existent. He's constantly looking for which side to be on. Constantly switching sides. I think it was even referenced in the series. Like, seriously, how ridiculous is it? So, the guy switches like a traffic light, seriously. Then he goes red, then he goes green. He's all over the place, and other characters just don't get any character development at all. Or you have character development on steroids. Shin, for example. His mind was apparently on steroids too. And until recently, I'd never watched the prequels of the Star Wars series. I recently have, so now I see how eerily similar Shin is to Anakin Skywalker. The difference being, Shin doesn't really have a good motivation to go batshit crazy. Anakin kinda did. But yeah, Shin seems to go batshit crazy for no apparent fucking reason. I'm not gonna blame the guy for following Durandal around. Because, hey, he's a soldier. He's supposed to follow Durandal around. He's not supposed to go desert the army and fight for the other side, as some other characters like to do. So, yeah, Shin, I really do like the guy. And I find he is kind of a believable guy. I don't really hate him as a lot of other people do. But, yeah, especially at the last fight, they really took a dump on Shin's character. He goes crazy because of what? Because he suddenly starts seeing things? I mean, was he on drugs? Like, no, those were the other characters that were on drugs. Sorry, I'm mixing them up a little bit. No, back to all seriousness. I mean, Shin, what the hell happened in those last few episodes? Fukuda really went out of his way to make Shin look absolutely crazy. Now, talking about a few other characters. So, one other thing Gundam Seed Destiny likes to do is take characters you like from Gundam Seed, crushes them, takes out all the good things, and just leaves you with all the bad things. And then they sprinkle on some gentle extra bad things. Examples being Kigali, Lacus, and Kira. Kigali, I really liked her. In the original Seed, she was badass. She was like a warrior princess, kinda. She didn't take shit from anyone. She had a big mouth, and she could actually show it off on the battlefield. She was a good pilot, even though she did use an aimbot. She was a genuinely good pilot. She scored some kills. But then Gundam Seed Destiny comes around, and instead of not taking shit from anyone, she suddenly takes shit from everyone. And what's up with all the crying? No, seriously, Kigali and Gundam Seed, I think she was literally crushed. Mentally. I don't know what Yuna did to her. Maybe he brainwashed her, but it was apparently quite effective. Nothing of that warrior spirit remains. She's just a shallow shell of her former self. A shadow. I hate to say it, but Kigali feels almost like a puppy dog. She will follow the commands of whoever her master happens to be at the time, be it Yuna or Kira and his gang. Like, it really sucks that I have to put it like this, because I really liked her in Gundam Seed, but Gundam Seed Destiny, no. Fukuda really managed to fuck her up. And of course, we have Kira and Lacus. Why are you fighting? Why do you keep shooting at us? Please stop fighting. Why won't you stop fighting? Well, I don't know. Maybe because you are firing at me with giant fucking laser beams. Or, yeah, beams. Yeah, in all seriousness, people don't join the military because of their ideals. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but the real world doesn't work like that. Like, literally, look it up. People join the military because they need money. They fire a weapon because it's their job, because they're being paid to do it. I just went to the website military.com, and there they had like a top 10 list of why should you join the military. Honor, as in serving your country, doing the right thing, was all the way back at number 9. The first 2 reasons they mentioned are education and money. And education, especially in America, is bloody expensive, so those 2 are essentially the same thing. Going in the military is a huge financial benefit if you want to put your life at risk. So all my respect goes out to those guys. I mean, they're obviously willing to sacrifice their lives, but you gotta keep looking at it like this. They're out there doing their jobs. You don't go to the baker and ask, hey, why are you making bread? I know, because if he didn't make bread, he wouldn't get paid. Just like a soldier, if he doesn't fight, he doesn't get paid. So they're not just going to stop fighting because some pop idol who somehow became the captain of a ship, and not just the captain of a ship, the leader of a giant political and militaristic movement, asks you nicely. That's also a great example of character development on crack. Blackus, I really liked her in the first one, even though her character development was a bit exaggerated. At least she wasn't that droning as in Gundam Seed Destiny yet. But let's look at her character development. She starts off being I'm sorry to say this, but as an absolute ditz, an airhead. She doesn't know anything. She's on an aligned ship, and she's like, oh yeah, by the way, just so you know, but my father is the guy running the country that you are kind of fighting against and are also kind of racist against. Just so you know. And she just blatantly blurts that out as if it's no big fucking deal. And the next time we see her, she gives a mobile suit. She gives the top secret mobile suit of her country to kind of complete stranger. So then she becomes the captain of a ship, then she becomes the leader of a political movement. Character development on crack, seriously. Now Kira Yamato just becomes a giant hypocrite in the series. He's constantly preaching, and also he's just not an interesting character. Just like Lacus, he doesn't get any character development at all. He is exactly the same guy as he was back in the middle of Gundam Seed. Same goes for Lacus. It's the exact same Lacus as in the middle of Gundam Seed. And I've seen people say that, oh, but they have to deal with their power. What, seriously? They have to struggle with their power? Yeah, no. They're not struggling with their power at all. Their power gives them the ability to just curb stomp every hindrance that gets in their way. Everyone who dares to come in their way is simply exterminated with extreme prejudice. They just kill everything in their way. Oh, excuse me, they disable them. Yeah, that's the way we should put it. That doesn't mean you can't do that in a good way, of course, because ultimate power does ultimately corrupt, but not in this way. I also have to say, Kira, especially in Gundam Seed Destiny, really likes to talk his characters down. I mean, we've all heard someone say like, oh, the pen is mightier than the sword, but nobody has ever said that words are stronger than a beam saber, which is apparently the case in Gundam Seed Destiny. Like, Kira's fighting against Atherin. Are you saying that this is really all Kagali's fault? She is crying right now! Well, yeah. If you are the leader of a country and your country kinda does something wrong, well, I would say that that is because the leader was maybe a little bit incompetent. Also, leaders are generally really well paid. So if said well-paid leader fucks up and cause the country to, oh, I don't know, enter a war they shouldn't have entered, I think it is entirely fair to point the blame at said leader for being a fuck-up. And over the course of history, we have had kings that were significantly longer than Kigali. So just putting that out there. Or in the even in the final battle, he doesn't really fight the final battle, he just says something to Rey, causes him to go berserk. Well, actually, he just like, oh, shell shock, and Kira disables him. Yeah, that's also one thing I really hate about Kira, disabling. We're fighting a war, we're not playing some kind of video game. And I'm not sure if, well, maybe some of you have read the Gundam École du Ciel manga, and I'm not sure if the following part I'm going to say is actually a dig at Gundam Seed they did, but at one point in the École du Ciel manga, the main character also has the same thing going as Kira. She doesn't want to kill anyone, she just disables a mobile suit. And one of those disabled mobile suits apparently still had the hand attached. His weapon was destroyed, but he managed to grab a weapon that flitted by, shot it, and fatally wounded or killed, I'm not quite sure, one of the two. But did significant damage to another unit that was on her side, on the side of the main character. So that's what should have happened in Gundam Seed Destiny, that Kira kind of has to realize, like, oh man, war really isn't the game. That would have been character development for Kira, but no. Kira just destroys everything and they lived happily ever after. Apparently not giving a single fuck at the end about over all the other people that died. So yeah, that's why characters are really a mixed bag. And well, they're not really characters, but the factions are extremely black and white. That's really bad thing. And I guess we're now kind of getting into the bad part of Gundam Seed Destiny. Or no, not yet. So the story, well, the factions, they're really extremely black and white. Whatever Kira, on whatever side Kira is on, that side is good. So the Klein faction is good. They can't do anything wrong. Whatever they do, even though it might look a little bit stupid, it ends up being the good thing. Whatever all the other factions do is bad. They even went as far as to suddenly, out of nowhere, pull the Destiny plan out of a hat. Like, oh, here it is. Look, Zaft are space communists. You must hate them. And the Alliance, well, those are quite obviously, blatantly, extremely racist. So you can't love those guys either. You can't support them. You have to be a fan of the Klein faction because the other factions are bad. They're bad. They're black. They're the Sith. You have to hate them. They're bad. They're black. They're evil. The Klein faction, white. They're good. They're pure. They're the Archangels. That was so bad. I should have cut that out. So yeah, that's just cringe-worthy. That's not what Gundam is about at all. Factions should be grey. The good and the bad, not just the bad. Another quite grey thing that you can debate backwards and forwards for all eternity is the story and also kind of the world that is set in. Starting off with the story. Yes, Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny were supposed to be kind of like modern reinventions of the older series, but the problem with Gundam Seed Destiny is that it actually copies quite a lot of stuff from Gundam Seed. Right, let's put it like this. I'll try to describe, who knows, one of the series. So, we're starting off on a colony, a base, a factory, something like that, and there are super secret mobile suits being developed there. The enemy, who was apparently aware of those super secret mobile suits, enters said colony slash base slash factory, steals said super secret mobile suits, then main character comes in, with his own mobiles within the main mobile suit, faces off against the stolen mobile suit a little bit, eventually gets back to the ship. The ship with our main heroes has to flee from the colony base slash factory, whatever, and they are on the run while still being kind of like pursued and are fighting backwards and forwards a little bit with the enemies. Can you tell yet which series I'm talking about? Then our ship, after many perils, gets into an atmospheric battle, has to enter the atmosphere, and kinda lands at the wrong spot, not in their own territory. Now, was I talking about Gundam Seed? Was I talking about Gundam Seed Destiny? Was I talking about both of them? Was I talking about neither of them? Who can tell? As you can see, they're eerily similar, and I can kinda continue this, because on said ship was a girl named Kagali Yula Arthur. Then the ship continues its journey to Orb, drops off Kagali Yula Arthur, and I could probably drag this on for significantly longer until we wrap up the series. But I think you can see where I'm kind of going with this. It's not necessarily a real horrible thing, because I gotta say, I think Gundam Seed Destiny, even though it was kind of similar to Gundam Seed, it did have a darker tone, which I did appreciate a lot more. But what I have to say about Gundam Seed Destiny's story, it was really solid. It had a really good build-up in the beginning, but it was really bad at the second half when kind of Kira took center stage again, and we just focused on how awesome Kira was and how right they were and how they never did something wrong and how they were apparently able to foresee everything that was going to come, because they know that Durandal was bad because he wanted Lacus' death. And oh yeah, about Lacus, something that really baffles me. They think that, oh yeah, Durandal must be bad because he wanted Lacus dead. Now let's think about some real life events. Private Manning. Do you remember what that guy did? Well, he leaked some apparently top secret files who were later declassified because they were apparently not that top secret. But yeah, we all know how Bradley Manning was treated. He was declared by the United States to be a traitor. It was bad, super bad. We have to do torture, not torture, enhanced interrogation techniques, kinda things. We have to keep him in custody, in jail. And now, whether you want to say Bradley Manning was a bad guy or a good guy, we're not going to talk about that here, but I just want to put things into perspective. Bradley Manning had a few documents he released, and look at all the shit that happened to him. Once again, we're going to leave the good things and the bad things about that in particular out of this, and we're now going to project that onto what Lacus Clyne did. Lacus Clyne gave the strongest mobile suit ever developed at that time to the enemy. Now just imagine if Bradley Manning had stole some kind of super tank or a super jet that was 20 times as powerful as the F-22 or 20 times as powerful as the M1 Abrams. Can you imagine if he gave that to a terrorist group? Just think about that. Or if they gave it to an enemy state. I don't know, just think of your own. Just imagine what the reaction would have been to that. And put that into perspective. What Bradley Manning did was peanuts compared to that. And I'm not saying that I want Lacus Clyne dead or anything, but I think that for high treason, there was a pretty high possibility that they would have sentenced her to the death penalty for the death penalty for that. So, in a way, it's not that surprising that Durandal would want to get rid of her. Seriously, look at what she did. But yeah, a little bit that rant out of the way, and let's get back to the world that Gundam Seed Destiny takes place in, because the world really displays the good and the bad thing, because even though the way the story in Gundam Seed Destiny was handled wasn't that great, I mean, a lot of flashbacks didn't really bother me, but yeah, a lot of flashbacks going on, a lot of reused animation, the complete train wreck of the second half, bullshit character development on crack, no character development at all, hypocrisy abundant, way too much talking during the fighting. You're fighting, you're not debating backwards and forwards. So yeah, when you look at the story, that's really a no-go. But when you look at the world and other stories set in that, we suddenly get a completely different view. Look at the Astray mangas, for example. Those are wildly popular for manga series. Or the Stargazer OVA. And that really shows us that the world of Gundam Seed Destiny is a really rich world with a lot of things going on. So for one, I really like to play video game. I really like to play Rango vs. Off 2+, because you can really assume the role of a random pilot and go out and fight for whatever you believe in and kind of have your own adventures. That's the cool thing about Gundam Seed Destiny. The world is really wide open to have like your own little backstory in it or come up with your own thing. It's just that the actual story itself is a little bit on the weak side, really, unfortunately. Alright, that about does it for everything I wanted to say about Gundam Seed Destiny. So let's quickly wrap things up. Like I said, this is more of an opinion than a review, so I guess you could say it's kind of an opinion in the form of a review. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there are better videos out there about people giving their opinions on Gundam Seed Destiny or giving an accurate review on it. But hey, I tried what I could with the time I have, and I'm pretty sure that if I dragged it out any longer, it's probably going to be a little bit on the boring and the long side. Because I could actually talk for more than an hour with ease about Gundam Seed Destiny and everything I like and dislike about it, or going into detail about every single character, because yeah, I do have something to say about every character, believe it or not. Both good and bad, though some of course have a little bit more good things, some have a little bit more bad things. So definitely leave in the comments down below your opinion. Say what you liked about Gundam Seed Destiny, or maybe I said something about Gundam Seed Destiny, or I said that is bad about Gundam Seed Destiny, but you think, no way Kakarot, you're way off, that was awesome in Gundam Seed Destiny. Maybe I didn't mention some things that were horrible, that really should have been mentioned, then definitely post that down in the comments down below, and let's have a cool, civil, interesting discussion about the good things, the bad things, and everything in between. So now let's quickly run down the good and the bad things. So for the good things, definitely the music. We have the intros, well mine is that one intro. The outros, soundtrack, all simply gorgeous, fantastic, really pieces of art. And like I said, definitely above the average for a Gundam series. Good thing. Number two, mecha designs. We can once again disagree with a few designs here and there, but overall, just look at the Gunpla and you get the general direction of what people, at least the people in Japan, because that was Bandai's going by, really think about the mech design. Yeah, when you look at the Gunpla, they seem to think it's pretty awesome. Then we get into the mixed bag things. Oh no, wait, one more good thing, of course, the world. Awesome world, as evidenced by the multitude of great side stories. Then the mixed bag things, the story itself, we had a good beginning, but the second half, really subpar. The beginning was really, really nice with Shin, Asuka, and also Shin, finally we have a character in a Gundam series, not an OVA, but an anime series, that is a military pilot to begin with. And we really see Shin progress, how he grows, but eventually kind of falls to the dark side. And that is where they really dropped the ball in the second half when they made Kira the good guy again, and Shin then had to be forced to be the bad guy, which was really quite awkwardly made. It really didn't work at all, with Kira suddenly being the absolute good guy and Shin, after being the main character for quite a while, suddenly being the bad guy. It would have been it could have been interesting, but no. Then more good and bad things. The characters, some characters really awesome, other characters not as much. You know, we have the really good characters, Mayrin, Mulaflaga, Atherin. We have the okay characters, which are quite a lot of. We have the somewhat not okay, and then we have the downright bad characters, Kira, Lacus, Kigali. And what makes this absolutely horrible is, I like those characters in Gundam Seed. Why did you do that to them? Especially Kigali, and I have heard that this was apparently because Fukuda's fiancé didn't like Kigali's voice actor. So, Fukuda made Kigali what she was in Gundam Seed Destiny. Which begs the question, was Gundam Seed Destiny made by a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds? I mean, I don't like you, so I'm going to make your character suck. What? Those were the guys in charge of making a Gundam series? Ouch. That hurt. So I'm putting that aside now. And that is about everything there is to say, for me at least, for now, about Gundam Seed Destiny. And if there's a big response, who knows, maybe I'll do a part 2. But now, I just said something about a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds, and now I want to end this video with perhaps a little bit more controversy. Because we've been talking about Gundam Seed Destiny, and whenever you look in the comments of Gundam Seed Destiny stuff, you get a look at the bad side of the Gundam community. Because we all like to think that we, the Gundam fans, are the mature adult fans. Because what we watched is a series that deals with adult stuff. And it's a serious series, it's not for kids at all. Yet when you go to any given Gundam Seed or Gundam Seed Destiny video, you will always find about half the comments either being Gundam Seed Destiny fanboys, Gundam Seed Destiny haters, or the UC purists perhaps, and all the discussions they're having like a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds. So yeah, they are the mature ones. So for people who are not in the Gundam community looking at us, will immediately see those people. And so what I want to get at is, why are we as the quote-unquote mature Gundam community so, childish when it comes to things like this? Why can't we just get together and have a nice discussion about what we like, even if it's just on the internet, and perhaps these people would get along in real life? Who knows? But why do we have to act like that on the internet? It really gives the Gundam community a bad name. And let's not forget, what was the original Gundam series about? What was the new type theory? Well, if you think about it, it is obvious that those fanboys, be it the fanboys in favor or the fanboys against Gundam Seed Destiny, will never become new types because their souls are obviously being dragged down by Earth's gravity and by the flame wars they're starting on said Earth with said gravity. It's really actually kind of depressing. A lot of the new type theory revolves around being able to understand each other and have like discussions. That's also kind of the thing they had going with the Gundam 00, with the innovators and being able to understand each other and know what you're talking about and universal understanding. Yet we as a community seem to don't give a flying fuck about it and happily continue our fights. So yeah, perhaps ending it with a little bit of a downer, but it's true, isn't it? We as a community might not be as mature as we would like to be. Also, of course, you can't really try to be mature. If you're trying to be mature, you're probably not being really mature anyways. That is quite serious, though. I'm not even kidding about that. If you have to try to be mature, you're not mature or adult at all. So I think that what we as a Gundam community should try to do is try to be new types, act like a new type, try to more understand everyone. And I know this might sometimes lead to conflicts, but having a conflict isn't necessarily a bad thing. You don't have to flame at each other. You can have an honest discussion about what is good and bad while still respecting everybody else's opinion. So yeah, that ends my this is seriously the end of this video, the end of my opinion on Gundam Seed Destiny, and also a little bit of a rant on the Gundam community itself, because especially when it comes to topics like Gundam Seed Destiny, or be it whatever new Gundam series they announced, I don't know, Gundam 8, I don't know, Gundam Build Fighters, I don't know, G Gundam, I don't know, maybe people aren't always as mature when it comes to when it comes to non-traditional series, or whatever they do not consider to be mature. I'm once again going to repeat it. If you have to try to be mature, you're not mature. Get it through your thick heads already and try to become a new type. Or innovator if you're a bigger fan of Gundam 00. Hey, all the power to you. So, that's all for this kind of opinion / rant video. And see you guys next time.